Do you live in an expensive market and think there's no way that you can own real estate? Well, I'm here to tell you that you can. Stay tuned and I will take you step by step of how I was able to do it. Hi everyone, Brittany Hannon with Brittany Hannon Real Estate, and I wanted to share with you today how I purchased my very first out-of-state property. Now, when I say my very first out-of-state property, I also mean my very first property. That's right, I hadn't even purchased my own home before I purchased out of state. And the reason for that, of course, a lot of you are in the same boat as me. I live in an expensive market. I'm in Southern California, and I thought there's no way that I'm gonna be able to buy out here. So I started looking out of state. I started looking into some other areas, and really I felt like it was a very daunting task. And so I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly what I was getting myself into. The very first thing I did was picked up the book, Long Distance Real Estate Investing by David Green. This is a phenomenal book that more than anything helped me to understand that I could do this. It wasn't something that was so far off. The second thing you need to do is determine your finances. Are you going to be in a partnership? Are you going to do it on your own? Are you going to do a syndication? A syndication is where you pull a bunch of people's money together and then you go and buy properties with those monies, and then you allocate that based on the percentages that they put in. Now, this can be really tricky and you can get into trouble with it with the SEC. So you want to make sure that you know what you're doing, you really study up on it, and you talk to a professional, because that's not me. When I was determining a market, my budget was really the one that was driving that. I was looking for something that had a low price point, but a high price to rent ratio. So I was looking for something to fall under what we call the 1% rule, meaning if I had a $100,000 property, I would want to make sure that the rents I was bringing in was at least $1,000. So I was looking specifically for multifamily properties. I was looking for duplex, triplex, fourplexes, because we were still able to get conventional financing for those. I was also looking in markets that did not have only one economic driver. I was not wanting to be in a place like the oil fields in North Dakota, where that's really the only thing that they have. And if that dries up, then the whole economy dries up. I was looking for something a little more dynamic, where they have hospitals and they have multiple industries and they have manufacturing and they have lots of different things, so that if one economic driver goes down, it doesn't tank the entire economy. So looking for something like that, I landed in Dayton, Ohio. And in Ohio, I was able to purchase something for $150,000, a fourplex, and I am able to bring in a little over $2,000 a month. So you see, that does fit the 1% rule. In fact, it goes even a little bit above that. And so that's really a good thing. Now, I will share with you a little later on why my expenses are a little bit higher. So I need to make sure that I am a little higher than that 1% rule. Now, the next step is to find your team. And in David Green's book, he calls this the core four. You need to find a lender, property manager, contractor, and a deal finder. That deal finder can be an agent, a wholesaler, a friend, anybody who brings you deals. And those are the people who you want to make sure that you have solid. Now, what David talks about in this is that rock stars know rock stars. And I love that he says that, because it's so true. We all know that people who are awesome in one industry tend to know people in that industry who are also amazing. And so if you have an awesome agent, they're likely to be able to refer you to an amazing lender or a great property manager. You all obviously need to vet it yourself, but that is definitely a good place to start. Now, for a contractor, I don't necessarily need that, because I'm not necessarily buying things that needs a lot of work. David Green in his book talks about how to rehab to be able to really force the appreciation and get a better investment. And that really would be great if you had the capital, number one, and number two, were able to find those people who you really trusted who could do this for you. I was not ready to do that. I wanted to look for something that wasn't necessarily turnkey, ready to go, super upgraded, but I wanted to make sure that it was something that was livable and that I didn't have to do anything right away because I didn't have that capital to start with. And so I wanted to make sure that we were going to be able to make money right off the bat, and we were going to be able to pay the bills and all of that. So that's really what I was looking for. I was not looking for a fixer-upper. But in his book, he talks about how to do that. And I think that's very valuable because eventually that is something that I probably will want to get into. Number 5 is a myth that needs to be busted. So many people talk about that you need to go see the house. And in David Green's book, he does a great job of outlining why you don't need to see the house. Number 1, because you have all of these people who are going to be seeing it, who are giving you reports. The inspector needs to see the house. The termite people need to see the house. The plumbers and electricians, those are the people who need to see the house. What am I gonna do for that? I'm not gonna bring any value to that. I just need to be able to read the reports, understand them. Now, I will say I did go see my first house because since it was the very first one I was purchasing and it was the first property I had ever purchased, I did want to go see it and I did want to check it out. And so I did go and see it when the inspection was happening. And I really am glad that I did that because I was able to see it. And so now when they tell me this repair needs to happen or that repair needs to happen, I can visualize it and I know exactly what they're talking about. And I can approve it on the spot or say, no, it's got a little bit longer of a life because I've seen those carpets in person or I've seen the ovens or, whatever it is. So I do think that I am glad that I went to go see it in real life. I don't think that I need to see every single one. And I'm very confident based on David's book and the insights that he's given that I wouldn't have to go see it to be able to purchase a great deal. And finally, in his book, David Green talks about systems, the importance of systems. And we definitely know that this is true. With checklists, you need to make sure that things are happening the same way every single time. Now, David Green has a ton of rental properties scattered all over the US. I have one right now and I'm able to manage it, but I do try and come up with the systems even now so that as I grow and as I have more, I'll know what to do and what I'm looking for as I continue. But one of those key systems is being able to use the calculator and to analyze the deals. So the calculator that is my absolute favorite is the Bigger Pockets rental calculator. And that one, it has areas for how much rent you're going to be receiving, how much CapEx you're going to need to put aside every month, how much you're going to need to put down, it goes through everything. And so it's really helpful to be able to do a quick and dirty analysis of something to be able to say yes or no. I actually was able to do this. My agent brought me what looked on paper like a really good deal, and I was really excited about it. And then when I was running the numbers, I was seeing, this isn't exactly what I want. And so in a matter of about 5 minutes, I was able to determine, no, I'm going to pass on that. So there are a lot of systems that you can do to make it so that it's not super time consuming. It's not something that's difficult. You really want to make sure that you have the right team in place so that you don't have to worry about so many of these things. So one of the reasons I talked earlier about why it's a little more expensive for me, and I do have to put that into my analyzing of my deals, is because I do use a property manager who takes care of everything. So they are more expensive and they do take a lot more when it comes to maintenance and things like that because they're completely in-house and they do everything on their own. I started out with a property manager that did not work out for me. And I felt like, okay, it's gonna be better for me to pay a little bit more and have them make sure that these are getting rented and being marketed and being advertised in the right way so that it's rented up and I can get the most money throughout the year, as opposed to paying less, but I had a vacant unit for an entire year when I had my old property manager. That is unacceptable. When I switched over to my new property manager, they had that filled in a month. So it definitely is, when you get a good property manager, they are worth their weight in gold, literally. They can cost you so much money if you don't get a good one. So it's so important to get that core 4. It is so important to have your team in place. It's important to have your systems and know what you're doing, because otherwise it's very easy to kind of be a little willy-nilly about this and then you end up losing money. So we want to make sure that we're not losing money. And one of the things that we know to be true, and I hear all the time in Bigger Pockets, is that your first real estate deal is an education for you. So if you do lose money, that's okay. Typically, your first real estate deal is not going to make you your millions. And so it's okay if you don't do everything perfectly. It's okay if you don't do everything by the book. It's okay if all of these things are a learning curve for you. That's okay. What's important is to get in the game. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that I was getting in the game. So that's what I did. And I'm so happy that I did, because I have been able to be in this now, learn a lot of things, know that there are a lot of things that I would do differently, but I'm so excited for my next one that I'm gonna do, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So you can do this. And that is the biggest thing that I think this book gave me, was saying, you can do this. I can do this. I've never purchased a property before, ever, and I can do this. And so that was what the best thing that came out of this book for me, and hopefully it will be helpful to you. So there you go, some steps to be able to help you with your long distance real estate investing. Number 1, study up. Number 2, figure out your financing. Number 3, determine your market. Number 4, find your team. Number 5, no, it's okay that you don't need to look at the house. And number 6, create your systems. Thanks everyone, I hope that helped. Be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification so that you get more videos like this as soon as they come out. Have a great day.